Olivia had built a life of quiet routine. At 35, she worked as a nurse at a small clinic in a seaside town, where the salty breeze carried the scent of the ocean through the open windows. She found solace in her work, caring for patients, offering them comfort, and easing their pain. It gave her purpose, but beyond the clinic walls, her life felt hollow. She lived alone in a modest apartment near the shore, the sound of crashing waves her only company at night. No boyfriend, few friends, just her and the predictable rhythm of her daily routine. She spent most of her free time visiting her mother, an elderly woman who lived in a small house near the water. Olivia cooked for her, cleaned the tiny space, and listened to the same old stories her mother had told her countless times. It was a quiet life, one without excitement or surprises. Every day followed the same pattern. She woke up early, put on her simple uniform, and walked to the clinic. Work consumed her hours, checking patients, assisting doctors, and filling out endless paperwork. By evening, she returned home to an empty apartment, ate dinner alone, and mindlessly watched television before heading to bed. Then, the cycle repeated. Olivia had long accepted that she was ordinary. She wasn't stunningly beautiful or striking in any way. She dressed plainly, tied her hair back without much thought, and never wore makeup. She was simply another face in the crowd, someone who blended into the background of life. She never expected anything to change, but in just a few days, something would happen that would turn her world upside down. The day Nathan arrived at the clinic, everything seemed the same, yet something subtly shifted. He was 33, tall, with dark hair that curled slightly at the ends, and striking blue eyes that held a quiet intensity. From the moment he walked through the doors, there was an air of warmth about him, a natural charm that made people feel at ease. It didn't take long for the nurses and staff to warm up to him. Patients smiled when he spoke to them, and his colleagues admired his skill and kindness. He blended into the clinic effortlessly, as if he had always belonged there. Olivia didn't expect him to notice her. She was used to being the quiet presence in the background, the steady, reliable nurse who did her job well but never drew attention to herself. Yet Nathan surprised her. He spoke to her often, asking how her day was going, making casual conversation in the hallways, and flashing her a smile that made something stir inside her, a feeling she had long buried under years of solitude. At first, she convinced herself it meant nothing. He was just friendly, just being polite. But as the days passed, his attention never wavered. She found herself looking forward to seeing him, anticipating the moments when their paths would cross. Whenever he entered a room, she felt a quiet excitement build within her, an unfamiliar warmth spreading through her chest. Nathan had a way of making her feel seen in a way she hadn't felt in years. One evening, as they both finished their shifts, Nathan turned to her with an easy grin. "Would you like to grab dinner?" he asked casually, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Olivia's heart pounded. She hesitated for only a moment before nodding. "Yes, I'd like that." That dinner was the first of many moments spent together. Soon it became routine. Nathan driving her home when their shifts ended, bringing her coffee in the mornings, and sitting beside her during lunch breaks in the staff room. Conversation with him was effortless, filled with laughter and shared stories. For the first time in a long while, Olivia allowed herself to hope. Maybe, just maybe, this was her chance at something real. The evening felt different, though Olivia couldn't explain why. The air was still, heavy with something unspoken, lingering between them as they sat across from each other at the small cafe near the harbor. Nathan had been quiet all night, his usual easy smile absent. Olivia sensed the shift, the weight of whatever was on his mind pressing into the silence. Then, he exhaled deeply and looked at her, his blue eyes clouded with something unreadable. "I need to tell you something," he said, his voice lower than usual. "I should have told you sooner." Olivia felt her heart tighten. A sense of dread curled in her stomach, even before he spoke the next words. "I'm married." For a moment, the world around her seemed to fade into nothing. The soft murmur of distant conversations, the clinking of silverware, it all blurred into an eerie silence. She barely heard the rest of what he said. "Her name is Emily. We've been married for 6 years. He paused, running a hand through his hair, as if ashamed. "But it's not what you think. We're not happy. We haven't been for a long time. We just exist together. No love, no connection. We stay together because it's easier than leaving." Olivia felt as if the air had been knocked from her lungs. A storm of emotions swirled within her: hurt, anger, disbelief. He had let her believe there was a future, had made her feel something real, only to reveal now that it was built on a lie. Her mind raced with questions. If his marriage was truly over, why was he still with her? Why had he chosen Olivia, drawn her into something so tangled and messy? Did she mean anything to him, or was she just a temporary escape? "I never wanted to hurt you," Nathan continued, his voice laced with desperation. "But being with you, it's different. You make me feel alive again." His words, though laced with sincerity, only made it worse. Olivia loved Nathan, but she refused to be the other woman, the secret hidden away in the shadows of his marriage. "I need time," she whispered, her voice barely steady. Nathan reached for her hand, but she pulled away. She needed space, needed to think, because no matter how much she cared for him, love built on deception would never be enough. The weekend arrived, and Olivia decided to distract herself. She had spent days tangled in thoughts of Nathan, torn between her feelings and the harsh truth of his confession. She told herself she needed space, but space didn't erase the emotions clinging to her like a shadow. Hoping to clear her mind, she went into town to run errands, stopping at a mall to pick up a few things. As she wandered through the aisles, something made her stop in her tracks. Just a few feet away, near the glass storefront of a boutique, stood Nathan. But he wasn't alone. A woman was beside him, her arm linked effortlessly through his. She was beautiful, elegant, with long dark hair cascading down her back. She wore a soft smile, the kind that looked natural, as if it belonged only to someone who was happy, truly happy. Olivia didn't need to ask. She knew exactly who she was. Emily. Her chest tightened as she watched them together. Nathan was laughing, his hand resting lightly on Emily's waist as they leaned toward each other, completely at ease. They looked like any ordinary couple, a man and his wife, enjoying a weekend together. There was no distance, no tension, no trace of the miserable marriage he had described. A sharp pain twisted inside her. Had he lied? Had everything he told her been a carefully crafted illusion? If he no longer loved Emily, why did he look at her with such warmth? Olivia felt as if she had been punched in the stomach. She left the mall quickly, her mind racing, her heart pounding against her ribs. It wasn't just hurt anymore, it was anger. If Nathan had deceived her, she needed to know the truth, all of it. That evening, she sent him a message: "We need to talk." He agreed to meet, unaware that Olivia had seen everything. When she arrived, he greeted her with his usual affectionate smile, but she didn't return it. "I saw you today," she said, her voice steady but cold. "At the mall, with your wife." A flicker of something, shock, guilt, crossed Nathan's face before he quickly masked it. "It's not what you think," he started. But Olivia cut him off. "You told me you weren't happy, that you didn't love her. But today you looked happy." Nathan hesitated, then sighed, rubbing a hand over his face. "It's complicated, Olivia." "Make it simple," she snapped. For a moment, he said nothing. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he admitted, "I can't leave her." The words landed like a final blow. "I care about you," he continued, "but I care about her too. I don't want to lose either of you." Olivia felt like the ground beneath her had shattered. The illusion was gone, and in its place was the raw, undeniable truth. Nathan had never planned on choosing. She had only ever been a part of his game. Olivia felt the weight of his words settling deep in her chest, but this time there was no confusion, no hesitation. She knew what she had to do. The pain was there. Sharp, undeniable, but beneath it, something stronger was beginning to rise. "I can't live in a story without a happy ending," she said, her voice steady despite the ache in her heart. She expected him to argue, to fight for her, but Nathan only looked at her with regret, as if he knew this moment had been inevitable. "Olivia," he started, but there was nothing left to say. She turned and walked away, not once looking back. The days that followed were quiet. The absence of Nathan left a hollow space inside her, but strangely, she didn't feel lost. She felt relieved, no longer waiting for stolen moments, no longer second-guessing her worth. The pain didn't vanish overnight, but she embraced it, letting it remind her of what she would never accept again. She spent more time with her mother, listening to stories she once found repetitive but now cherished. She took long walks along the shore, feeling the ocean breeze against her skin, the waves whispering promises of a fresh start. For the first time in years, she thought not about love, but about herself, the life she deserved, the happiness she could create on her own. She was whole, with or without him. "I lost a love that was never mine," she thought, as the tide pulled away from the shore. "But I found myself again." How often do we hold on to something that was never truly ours? How many times do we convince ourselves that love can exist in the shadows, only to realize we deserve more? Olivia's journey is a reminder that self-worth should never be compromised for temporary affection. In today's world, emotional deception is more common than ever. Social media creates illusions of happiness, making it harder to distinguish truth from lies. If someone truly loves you, they won't keep you a secret or make you feel like an option. They will choose you fully, without hesitation. The lesson here is clear. Never settle for less than you deserve. Love should bring security, not confusion. If a relationship makes you question your worth, it's time to walk away. Instead of chasing someone who isn't available, invest in yourself. Focus on growth, build meaningful connections, and embrace the love you can give to yourself. The right person will never make you feel like you are waiting to be chosen. They will choose you from the start. If you found value in this, don't forget to subscribe. This is more than just a channel. It's a community of strong, wise women who know their worth. Let's walk this journey together. Hit that subscribe button, and let's keep writing stories that empower us all.